Good morning, day 166. We're starting the book of Jeremiah today. And I don't know that this is going to be a real fun book, but life isn't always fun. We've got to look at the realities and get honest with what's going on in order to work on things, right? Yeah, but that's what today is called. I was going to title it something like, "Oh, you are what you do." And then I was like, we don't like to look at that part of ourselves. We go, what's our first reaction? Yeah, but we have a reason, we have explanations, and they might all be valid. And truthful and honest. But we want to try to gloss over it or not own it or try to have it both ways. We want to really believe that we value what we say we value, even though our actions don't back it up. And our actions are paying attention to another value that may be equally as important, but in our minds and in our hearts, maybe we're trying to hold two things that just aren't gonna, you can't serve two masters. And you end up serving none, or you serving like you're just scattered. So, but we want to, and that's honest. Tomorrow we might dig a little more into honesty, I think, because that word caught my attention. But I was read the first 5 chapters of Jeremiah, and in chapter 3, verse 5, it was like, your lips keep flapping. This is my paraphrase. But then you're doing this other stuff over here. Like, I'm tired of it. This is God through Jeremiah's prophecies. Like, I've had it with you people. You keep saying this, but then you're doing this. And he just is 3, 4, 5 chapters of just example after example, saying it, 100 different ways. And he's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. I want you to do it. That's the only way I'm going to believe you. Your words are empty and meaningless. Have you said those words to your kids or other people in your life before? Yourself? Yeah, I think I'm going to be having a conversation like this myself today too, because I got home last night, had a full day yesterday, got a lot done that needed to get done. And I also have some expectations from one of my coaches for some things to get done that aren't done. And I'm going to have to, my first words were in my mind basically were, yeah, but, I signed up for this. I said I would do these things. And I bit off more than I could chew. I wasn't being realistic. Maybe that's a better word than honesty. Like, I honestly wanted to be able to do all the things. I do want to do all the things. But the reality of my life right now is I had probably too many balls in the air. But I've still made progress on all these things. Just not as far along as how I would want to be, or how the program that I'm in would want me to be, according to their, A+ efforts maybe. So I'm still going to give myself an A+ and totally be honest, because I always live in, well, that's not true. I was going to say I always live in reality, but that's not true either. When I found myself trying to make excuses and even come up with, okay, what are you going to tell her? What's going to be a good reason why you didn't get that done? And then I was like, well, why don't you just be honest, Felicia? And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to really sit and go, okay, help me out here. I need this. My family needs this from me. My other clients need this from me. This business, when you're a multipreneur, and trying to build, and in the beginning stages of one of those businesses, behind the scenes, Hold it up. There we go. All right. So anyway, I don't want this to all be all about me and my examples, you know, because I want to leave room for what the Holy Spirit is saying to these people. But basically, what I can do when I'm feeling the temptation to gloss over, go, yeah, but I just really have to look at my time and go, okay, this evidently is what's most important to me right now. Even though in my mind, I would like to think that I have 5 extra hours in the day and extra time, energy, and focus to do all that I want to do. Evidently, I just can't. Or I've got to say, you know what? I really could back off. Maybe I'm using that and spending all that time over there as a reason to not show up. Maybe I'm doing it to have an excuse. So, you know, I mean, your time. I watched a TED Talk once called, I'm going to cuss here for a minute, so I hope you're okay with that. But it was called Fuck Bucks. It was like, how do you spend your fuck bucks? And fuck bucks are your time, your energy, and your money. All your resources, your emotional energy, not just physical energy, like anything. So, you know, because that will, there's no arguing with that. It will tell you what your priorities are. It will tell you what you value, despite what your lips may be professing or what you may be trying to tell yourself or what you want to be a priority or what you want to be true. You can't, like, when we're not honest with ourselves or willing to look at how we're really spending our resources and then using that to tell us what's important to us, even if we don't want it to be true, then we're not living in, that is when we really get into trouble and problems, and we're not owning it. That's my phrase that I love to use all the time. And I found myself in that position with myself in the last 24 hours, is wanting to not own it. I was wanting to give it to somebody else to own. Like, it's not my problem, it's not my fault. And you know, owning it isn't always negative. Like, it's really helpful. It can give us clarity even when we don't think we have clarity. Like, it's there, it's clear. Like, take an inventory of your resources and your time in the last week, and then you and I can sit down together and we can really quickly figure out what's important to you. And then why you might be frustrated because you're saying one thing and your brain's hearing all of this, God's hearing all of it, and yet you're over here doing this. Clearly there is a disconnect happening. And that always causes pain and suffering, whether it's minor pain and suffering or big pain and suffering. And when we don't address it when it's still small, it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And y'all, I have talked about the Enneagram before. It has been so helpful to me personally. Those of us that are students of it even refer to it as the wisdom of the Enneagram, because it helps us to be the wise version of ourselves versus the foolish version of ourselves. Sort of like that we can use the book of Proverbs the same way. If you know consistently what your stumbling blocks are. And the way my brain works by default as a peacekeeper or a peacemaker, depending on whether I'm operating in a healthy or not so healthy space, is that I can see everybody's points of view. I can see all sides of things. I can understand. And that sometimes really can be confusing with my own personal beliefs and my own personal values. And I care so much about other people's opinions, needs, desires being met, because when everybody is getting what they want, there is peace. or at least it can seem like there's peace. That's what I'm learning to tell the difference of my area of growth. And sometimes I will make sure everybody else is at peace, and then the war shifts inside of me. And that's what I've got to pay attention to and learn to pay attention to a little bit more, because that will also give me some clarity that I think I don't have, but I really do. But I don't want to see it because it might conflict with somebody else, which might cause a conflict that I then have to engage in and stake my claim with what I care about, my values, etc., etc. Not everybody has this type of brain and will identify with what I say. So that's why we have lots of different personality types. But there are, as the book of Proverbs says, some main traits that sort of identify the way different brain types work. So it's your job to own and know how you work, and then what stumbling blocks you have that are causing the same kind of maybe muddy waters in your life that you're not wanting to fully own. And that you're wanting to go, but. So there's just no arguing with your calendar and with your bank account and with your relationships and how you're spending your time, your money, your resources. So if you're having some disconnects in your life, or maybe in your relationships, in your career, in your faith walk, take a look at how you're spending your resources and own, I really want to value this. I really want this to be important to me, but evidently it's not, or I would be doing it. I'd be walking this thing out. And that's when we betray ourselves, and that's the consistent analogy that's used in Jeremiah, the first few chapters, is betrayal and adultery and prostitution. You're saying all these things, but yet you're going and you're sleeping around. And I don't like it. God is like, I've had enough. I keep trying to believe that the words that are coming out of your mouth, but I'm clearly looking at what you are doing, and it's telling a whole different story. And they're going, yeah, but. So if you got any yeah, buts happening internally, pull out your journal, pull out your calendar, take an inventory. Probably doesn't need to go much more than a week out, and you will get some clarity on what's important to you. And if it doesn't line up with what you want, you're going to have to make some adjustments, and you're going to have to be willing to get uncomfortable and deny yourself, some of your natural desires to get your greater desire. So you've got to decide, each one of us, we put our own backs up against the wall all the time, and we want to blame our spouses and our kids and work and blah, blah, blah. It's never anybody else's fault. It's always ours. And we don't like hearing that. I don't either. Sorry. I'm having this own conversation in my head this morning. But facts are facts. So what are we going to do about it? Maybe we'll reconvene, we'll do some thinking about it, and we'll come back tomorrow and have more to talk about. All right. Have a great day. Rise and shine. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It is going to be a great day. It's actually very relieving when you can be honest with yourself in this way. When I did that this morning with myself, when I got out of the yeah buts and I just said, just own it, Felicia, just Like, it is what it is. And there's good in it. There's a lot of good information there. You're getting clarity. You have come far. It's not about punishing yourself and going, you suck and blah, blah, blah. It's just about, hey, okay, if this is really important to me, where can I make some adjustments? You know, I'm just living on autopilot or default or other people's agendas right now. And I can do something about that. So, this is actually a relief when we come to this point and we're going, okay, this is what we got to work with. Are we going to change it? Are we good with it? So we're either going to align our thoughts, desires, and the things that we're telling ourselves up with reality of what we're actually doing, or we're going to make some changes, or maybe it's a little bit of both. And it doesn't have to be good or bad. I know there's a lot of judgment in the biblical story about what we're talking about with God, but when we're talking about applying the same type of principle to ourselves or even to other people, maybe we've been too hard on other people in our lives. And anyway, so all right, I'm going to literally stop so that I will stop. Otherwise, I'll keep going. So, love you and go rise and shine. Bye.